I posted basically that Rocket Lab at $37 billion feels like a way better investment than SpaceX at $2,000 billion or $2 trillion market cap. And the reason for it is because the law of large numbers. Both companies are being valued extremely high relative to their revenue. Rocket Lab has roughly 650 million revenue run rate. And it's getting a $37 billion market cap, which is a pretty, I think last time we looked at it, was around 60 times revenues. And SpaceX is also getting somewhere around 70, 80 times revenues. So from that perspective, they're not actually too far apart, where like one is getting 500 times revenues, one is getting 5 times revenues or whatever. But the law of large numbers is what makes me like Rocket Lab significantly more than SpaceX. And the reason for it is because it is much, much more difficult to grow a $2 trillion market cap to be 10 times larger than it is to grow a $37 billion company to be 10 times larger, right? So the comparison I made is that the entire public market, meaning every single company that is public in the United States, collectively, that includes Apple, Nvidia, Google, Amazon, plus the other 11,000 companies that are public. Collectively, they're worth approximately $60 trillion, right? In order for SpaceX as a $2 trillion company to become a $20 trillion company, it'd have to be worth approximately 1/3 of the market at today's size of the market, right? Which means that, like obviously no company is worth 1/3 the entire market. So the market itself would have to grow significantly in order for that to even be, for a 10x opportunity to be even possible for SpaceX. So, 10x possibility for, and that's not unique to SpaceX. That's true for, Nvidia or Apple and Amazon and Google, right? That's part of the reason why I'm not even in some of these companies, is because their upside potential is relatively capped. Whereas when you look at a company like Rocket Lab at 37 billion, 10xing means it would only have to become a $370 billion company, and $370 billion company is going to be at less than a quarter the size of SpaceX IPO. So
yeah.
the possibility of Rocket Lab 10xing over the course of the next 10 years, for example, seems much greater than SpaceX, and that's why I had said that I'm much more excited about Rocket Lab than SpaceX. And of course, X is full of people with commentary and opinions, and I'm one of them. So I got a lot of heat in both directions, or support for that idea, but also heat from a lot of SpaceX and Elon fans who are like, "You're crazy," and that seems to be sort of like par for the course. But yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I think it's a great point, and a very there's just physical dollar limitations with what these companies can do at a certain point. And I think it's important to recognize that and call that out, because I think a lot of people miss that, right?
Yeah.
Like they don't think about the market cap at all. They just look at the stock price, which doesn't really tell you anything.
Right. Yeah, it's funny because I kind of want to do a stock explainer video where you kind of explain that the number of shares of the company is completely in the hands of the company. Meaning a company can have 1 million shares, they can have 1 billion shares, or anywhere in between, or even more than 1 billion in many cases now. But the stock price times the number of shares is what gets you the market cap, and that is far more important thing than just the share price, right? So when I can't tell you how many times somebody will be excited about a $10 stock versus a $100 stock, and my immediate reaction is why? Because just because that something is $10 does not even mean that it's valued at a lower valuation than something that's at 100, because it all depends on how many shares they have. So
that's probably one of the most common misconceptions in investing.
There's an assumption that things priced at around the same stock price probably have similar valuations, which is an easy thing to just assume if you don't know anything about investing in stocks in general. But yeah, what were you going to say?
We got a listener question asking about Rocket Lab specifically.
Ooh.
They're asking, I don't have any position in Rocket Lab. Is now a good time to enter? The age old
So
question.
the age-old question of yesterday would have been a better time to enter. I think
That's a good
uh,
joke, Hamid. I wonder, did you come up with that on your own?
you had mentioned that prices were lower yesterday, right? So,
They certainly
uh,
were.
but it's hard to determine when is a good time to enter. I think that the time that I was accumulating Rocket Lab, it wasn't trading at 60 times revenues. And generally, it's hard for me to invest in things that are that high of valuations because so much of the upside is built into the stock price. I still do, Rocket Lab still makes up the number one position in my portfolio. So I haven't exited the position despite the fact that it's 60 times its revenues because of how excited I am about the future of this company and their Neutron rocket that is coming and going to compete with the Falcon 9, and the fact that space in general is going to grow so rapidly in the coming years. And now, if Elon and the proponents of data centers in space are correct, then we're going to need even more access to space. And there's literally only three companies that US-based companies that are doing a great job here. One is SpaceX, one is Rocket Lab, and Blue Origin is the only other one from Jeff Bezos. And basically all these rockets are going to be sold out in terms of, this is so similar to this sort of like memory issue, right?
Mm.
Access to space is sold out for the foreseeable future just to get all of these things into space, all the satellites that we want to get there into orbit. So they're constantly backlogged and delayed because of the fact that there isn't enough rockets to put them up there. So they're in an amazing position to continue to grow for a long time. And that's what I love about them. So even if you were to overpay for Rocket Lab today, and again, this is just my opinion, but I suspect that if you just waited it out, meaning that this is a great company that the price might be a little high right now, but if you waited it out, the price will fix itself down the road. And because price is unpredictable, the price might never go down from here. Who knows? Like that, like those things are sort of hard to predict in the short term. But if you were to sort of take the long term approach, 5 years from now, the price almost certainly is going to be higher than today. That's my perspective on it.
Yeah, my take, if not investment advice, if I
Yeah.
didn't have a position in Rocket Lab, was interested in investing in them, how would I go about it? I mean, they're down roughly 40% from their all-time highs. The stock price has been fairly flat. I mean, it's definitely fluctuated, but fairly flat since February. If you zoom out on their chart, like I think now is a totally fair time to buy. You're not buying at an all-time high, or you're definitely not buying at the best price ever. So I would
Yeah.
potentially get in here. Again, not investment advice.
Well, so some things that could affect it, by the way, is that if the SpaceX IPO is a success and goes up even further from $2 trillion, that could pull up Rocket Lab with it as well. And if it's a dud and it ends up going down from wherever it IPOs, it could also hurt Rocket Lab because then all of a sudden, a lot of people who are enthusiastic, they love space and they want to invest in something space related, might choose to invest in SpaceX as opposed to Rocket Lab. So right now, my view is that Rocket Lab is the much better investment. Even if you could invest in SpaceX at, let's say, $1.5 to $2 trillion price tag, but that could change. If SpaceX goes public and it becomes a $700 billion company, now the perspective might be a little bit different.